Hey everyone, welcome to another very special edition of Mogul Live. I'm James Pratt. Really thrilled to bring you Elizabeth Blake Thomas. She's our guest here today. Gonna have half an hour chat with her about what some of the films she's done. She's the president, founder, and very actively involved in mother-daughter entertainment. Films, Unseen, Death Grip, Just Swipe, Evie and Rose, just a few of the films we'll cover in the chat as well. And also very award-winning writer, director, producer. Very excited to have a chat with her here today. I can see already Andrew. Hey, Joanna, good to see you in the chat. Michael, Mark, great to see you guys here. You can ask any questions you like. And again, this is something that I think will be really exciting to do. So I'm just going to quickly see if we can connect Elizabeth now. Let's see if we can go from there. So let's see if we can get her in on the connection now. To the chat, Michael, good to see you back in as well. See if we can get Elizabeth on the call. We're just seeing if we can dial her in now. Hey, Elizabeth, got you.
Hi, and hi from chat.
How are you?
Very good, very good.
Very nice. I see. I was going to say we've got a great group ready to get some insight from you here at the moment. Where have we got you coming live from?
Live from LA. I'm up in the valley at the moment. Normally I live on a boat, but for this sake with the Wi-Fi, I thought I wouldn't risk it going out, and I would come here and be at my friend's house.
Oh, we're really excited to have you. And who have we got? Who's the companion?
This is Chai. So Chai is often in my films as well, by fluke and sometimes by choice.
That's fantastic. We've got a couple of people emailed in already knowing you were coming on the chat and wanted to kind of dive into a couple of questions specifically. But one of the ones I thought would be great to start is just to ask, how did you first get in the industry? What was your first job?
Well, my first job was actually in theatre, so nothing related to film at all. It was based in the UK, and it was all about theatre. I was an actress in theatre as a child, and then I ran my own theatre company. And then I had my daughter, who is a professional actress, and she is the one that kind of instigated that understanding of this new industry that I hadn't experienced. And we moved over to LA, and I was on one of her sets, and somebody said to me, one of the directors said to me, could you come and help coach one of these actresses? So I went over and coached this actress, and I realized, I can do it not just in theatre, but also film and TV. And then my best friend, Sean McNamara, who directed Soul Surfer and who's currently directing Reagan, said to me, you should be a director. And I said, how do I do that? He said, just say you're a director. So I did.
And I mean, one of the things for everyone that's jumped in onto the chat as well, Elizabeth Blake Thomas, we're talking with, you're one of the hardest working people I've seen. I mean, in the last 12 months or 18 months during COVID, when most people have slowed down, you've been actually I think 4 or 5 films you've completed?
Yeah, that's correct. I've completed one. I shot a short documentary, which is in post. Then there was another feature, the feature I'm doing now, my book, the podcast. I think I probably missed another one off. So yes, I mean, it's been a very busy, I've called this the Great Pause, as opposed to the COVID years. But I have to say, I haven't paused at all.
That's fantastic. It's really inspiring because I think one of the things that with some of the people we speak to on the live is the difference between people that are kind of letting COVID slow down the industry and other people that are looking, okay, well, we might have to pivot a bit or it's not ideal, but we still just want to get out there and make things happen.
Well, I think it is about pivoting, and I think it's about understanding the time we're in, because actually this is the perfect time to change things. And also the way I make films actually fits very well within this model, because I work in the independent film world where I truly believe it's independent filmmaking between 100K to 1.5. And when you work within that amount of money with my crew, I've got 25 crew who come on all of my feature films, you're able to work very quickly. So I'm currently shooting at the moment, this is my day off, I'm shooting a movie called Carolique, and it is a 9-day shoot, a low budget, but with 25 crew, 15 cast, And the way I'm doing it is in a location that allows us to fit within these new COVID guidelines and the SAG rules, which is the union for the actors. So it's very much about pivoting, but for me, I was already doing something that worked in this kind of new world.
That's fantastic. Can you tell us just any sort of sizzle reel type insight into this film that you're currently doing?
I can indeed. In fact, I've been doing some BTS for you guys, so I'm going to put them out over the next couple of weeks. But it's very much about we all live together. There's a community that I create. So we all come together in this one big house. A lot of people stay over. It's very secluded, and it allows you the space to make every single room into the different locations. So everyone comes together knowing that it's a 12-hour day maximum, because that's very important for me, the way my crew work. My actors are 9 hours, no more. And within this time frame and this budget, I put together a feature film that has got scenes in the swimming pool, scenes in pretend sitting rooms, kitchens, school hallways, office rooms. I've created like an intergalactic space office center as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And inspiring too, because I think, like you said, the independent film world, there's an opportunity now with COVID, with some people slowing down, to really drive home. A great film that you did, I really would love to get some insight into maybe a great time on set or something that stood out for you. But maybe I'm Fine.
I loved that one. So that was an amazing feature, which I loved because I actually was able to shoot it where I live in Hermosa Beach. And so being in Hermosa Beach and getting on your bike and being able to bike to set each day was thrilling. I had an amazing cast. I mean, I can't even remember all of them. Kelly Sullivan, Rob Mays, Mark Christopher Lawrence, plenty. And obviously, and I also did manage to work with my daughter. And we were working in lots of different spaces, but it was fun because it was a funny movie. And I've just finished another rom-com, and I realized it's really enjoyable to be on set and making something that makes you laugh as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well, in this time as well, where people, they want to have an escape, like if they're going through something tough with the circumstance, they don't want to go back into a film set, which is relive it all over again. Which I think is great.
And do you know what? That was one of the things actually with my last feature, Swipe Right, or Just Swipe, which we're now calling it because Swipe Right is owned by Tinder, or they're trying to get it. So we renamed it to Just Swipe, but originally it was called Will You Be My Quarantine? And it is based on a story of everybody like this and dating in this new world where nobody can go out and meet people. And I specifically made sure I made something that wasn't a reminder to the negative sides of this, because I think that's very important. You know, we're all experiencing a lot of negativity from this current time, but also a lot of good can come out of it. And I think that's very important to remember.
Yeah. For anyone that's just joined in, Just Swipe, that's the latest title, Just Swipe.
That's correct.
Yes, I was lucky enough to see some footage of it. It's extremely funny. So keep an eye out, everyone, for that one. Another film, which I think if we sort of circle back, and this film won a lot of awards, and I read up, obviously, this is close to your heart as well. So this was obviously a project you wanted to get done with a passion, Unseen.
Yes, well, let's talk about the fact that it's a passion, because I think that's something important as well as an independent filmmaker. I have afforded myself to put myself into a space in life where I can make my passion projects. And I have a team around me that will support that. So when I approached people with this concept of making a film about a young person that had been trafficked and taken, it was based on a true story that I was told when I was at the Sundance Film Festival. And so from that, this idea grew. And actually, I was very fortunate to have the producer, Cindy Cowan, behind it as well, the producer, Mal Young, and Larry Shapiro, who all helped me create something clearer, a clearer vision. But also, they supported my vision, which is very important because this movie itself is about young people who are taken via social media. And I have a young person in my life that I support and look after and appreciate. She needs to be on Instagram and all those other things. But actually, there are these predators and they come in and they abuse this whole situation. So I showed this movie and tried to teach somebody. It's important that the audience learn something from it. And one of the things that I was unaware of was how hashtags were used. So I thought, even if somebody can leave this film going, just being a little bit more aware, I always look at hashtags, I say,
Yeah, and I think the difference here is this is a sorry, I'm just reading. Sorry, Elizabeth. I think if anyone's having a little bit of trouble, just feel free to jump into the chat and just say we're having any technical issues at the moment. But what I was going to say, yeah, definitely a project like that as well has a very deep subject matter that obviously will appeal right across, which I think when you said it's a passion to do, it's a coming from a good place that you guys are obviously, and especially yourself, are driving that. Um, so with that, so anyone that's joined us, Elizabeth Blake Thomas, very accomplished film director, writer, producer. We're going through a couple of her films. Let's segue a little bit into Mogul Productions. First thoughts when you heard about Mogul.
well, very exciting as an independent filmmaker. It's something that you're always looking at. How else can we get funding? How else can we have support in a world that is currently changing? And actually, it's funny, my DP, who works on all my features, is incredibly into all of the cryptocurrency information. And so when I told him about this, he was very excited and wanted to understand about this decentralized film funding. And so I've been really learning about it. And I think as an independent filmmaker, if there can be support from another community, and another community that opens this up, and we're not just playing with the big boys, then we're able to open it up to people like myself who are out there working and making movies and getting them distributed and getting them in front of people to watch. We have, let's watch people experience.
It's real. It's exciting. It's real. It's yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a great point because I think at this point, I'm just seeing a quick message come up. Sorry, Elizabeth. Okay, so we're having some of the guys are having a little bit of trouble getting the connection from your side, Elizabeth. We'll just see. Actually, Nightly Crypto, can you give us a message about what issue you guys are seeing your end? This is the real side we're talking about when you said oh, the behind the scenes. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to see if anyone's got some feedback on how the connection is, and we can see because this is the behind the scenes that Elizabeth was talking about. So let's see. Okay. So you know what, Elizabeth, this is really left of field. Maybe if I could get you to come in and then out of the chat again. Sorry, Elizabeth. I was thinking this is very kind of reality left of field, but can we maybe see if you jump out of the chat and I'll reconnect you to see if we can get a better connection. Okay, let me see. Let me see what we do here, guys. Let me see. You know what I think, Elizabeth? Let's try this. This must be. I think that's a lot better.
Yeah, do you think that works?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Okay, there we go. And Nightly Crypto and anyone in the chat, please give us some feedback here if this connection is.
Yes, let us know. Let us know.
Well.
I'm seeing lots of people that I recognize, which is very exciting. They've come to join. In fact, I saw one of my friends who's a casting director, Jessica, come on just now. Because it is about saying there's so many parts of this industry, so many people that you can involve, so many people are using this modern way now with connecting and decentralizing everything. So I love what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head really clearly there, which is like there's an opportunity for people to come together that perhaps before wouldn't have been able to do that, and the industry collaboration is such a big thing. Speaking of that, I'd love to get a little bit of a kind of an insight into your podcast,
Yes.
Filmmaking Without Fear.
Yes, yeah. So as a filmmaker who, people often say to me, gosh, you've got no fear. I thought it was the perfect title. So the podcast and the book have the same name. But it's very much about being open, like you guys are doing at Mogul. It's about saying, I want to open this up so people can really understand what's going on. And it's not just a behind closed doors situation. And so I try to help people understand how they can get films made, what you can really do for the money. Because to make a movie for 100K up to 1 million actually is really hard. Give me 20 million, it's easy. And I wanted to teach people that, and I love mentoring. I'm a professor at Pepperdine University. They wanted real life people that are really in the industry actually running these classes. So it's important that people learn what it's about. And I say, listen, if you have a passion and you really want to do it, you can do it.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Where filmmaking in different budget levels has different obstacles along the way. A very funny story. I was recently on a Ron Howard movie, and there was literally just out the front of a caravan was 8 ARRI Alexa cameras. And then you circle back, and they weren't used in the scene. They were just on standby in case they wanted some extra shots. And then you kind of circle back to the indie filmmaker that's just trying to get an ARRI, just one, to be able to shoot
So
there.
we're shooting on an ARRI Alexa. So
Yeah.
that's what I shoot on. That's my favorite camera.
And
But you're right.
they're a great camera, but like it's 150,000 set up with the lenses and everything. And the irony is like the indie filmmaker needs to be really savvy and know how to make money work. And then on a studio film with $100 million budget, there's cameras lying around just in case. But it's the process.
It's the same stuff. That's the thing. When you look at it, what I'm doing now with this smaller budgets would be exactly the same if I was working on a bigger film with bigger budgets. But actually, the money then gets put into cast. And instead of having a 25 crew, I have 100 crew. But they're all doing the same stuff. You need that location, but now you need 20 locations. And so in order to move from location to location, I now need more trucks. So everything just gets bigger. It's the same stuff, but just in a much bigger scale.
Yeah. And thanks, Nightly Crypto, for the comment. Guys, you can ask Elizabeth any questions as we're going along as well. Perhaps anything to do with her new films coming up. Any questions about how she shoots or where you can see some of her films coming up. I'd love to talk a little bit, if we could. We sort of briefly mentioned it, but Just Swipe.
Yes.
Just to sort of circle back, because I did mention I have seen some of it. I think it's hilarious. It was shot during COVID as well, which is very, very impressive. Maybe just a little bit behind, obviously, the involvement that you had or any fun stories on set.
Absolutely. So I came up with the concept sitting on my boat. We're all, being told we can't go out or do anything. And I realized I couldn't go online dating. I couldn't go dating, so I had to do it online. So I was looking and I met somebody, and almost like this. It was like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. They can't see the mess around me. They can't see what I'm wearing down here. This is actually quite a fun idea. So I contacted my writer and I said, listen, I've got a good idea for a movie. Let's write something. And then I found a producer and I said, listen, I've got this. Would you like to be in it? Would you like to work with me? And he said yes. And so you piece all those bits together. But a couple of the most wonderful moments on set were with the actor Alec Mapper, who I just adore. And we were doing a ping pong scene where I'd seen online that people throw balls at the walls and they have to catch them in their red Solo cups, as opposed to when you play with someone. So I suddenly attached these red Solo cups to my leads, and they're all on Zoom, so they're all connected, but via the internet. And Alec was throwing it at the wall, and he suddenly said, I'm Asian, I should be good at this. And it was like so brilliant, because I could never have written that line. And he was just the sweetest person to work with and was such fun on set. And then obviously Jodie Sweetin was great. I mean, she was so dedicated, hardworking, but I shot that in 8 days.
That's incredible. Yeah. And you had another one of Mogul's ex-guests, and a guy that I know, David Lipper, who's got a good sense of humor as well. So it would have been a fun set.
I was waiting till you mentioned him. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's hysterical. But he helped put that all together. And again, that's what you do. You go, right, how can we make something work in this environment with this budget and during COVID? And we were all on set taking our tests, not leaving the space, you know, but that's why I did it for 8 days, because if anybody did get ill, we'd have shot it and we could be done.
Yeah, exactly. You're into post. We've probably got time for 2 more questions, and it's been so fantastic to hear an insight, and also the generosity of you sharing with us what goes on with your process, Elizabeth. Guys, you can ask any chat again. 2 more questions. This is one I think it'd be really good for, obviously, to people watch the interview later on, but for any actor that's auditioning for one of your projects, any advice what you like to see in the casting?
Do you know what? That is such a good question, because I've done it several ways. I've had a casting agent, and I've also done it myself, and then I've also used people that I know, and I found 2 actresses in an Uber once. We shared an Uber in the days when you went in an Uber, and they told me they were here to be actresses, and I said, well, you know what, I'm doing a movie. Do you want to have a little role in it? So for me, the last one, there's a lovely girl that auditioned for me, and she sent in her tape, and there were 2 or 3 others. And it can be the simplest of things. I think this is really important for people to know, that there could be a connection. It can be something that she just did that I liked. It could be the way she is when I do a Zoom interview. Because I need people that are really nice on my set. I need people that are going to be hardworking, no prima donnas, no one that's going to cause any stress. No, my sets do not have stress. And people will be like, yes, I'm sure. But I got an email from one of my crew today who said, I just want to let you know what a pleasure it is being on your set. Because, look, we're all going to die. You might as well have a nice time whilst we're alive.
I think that's fantastic, yeah. And you're right, there's such a difference between a toxic set and one that people are actually able to be themselves, because you cherish those moments. Like if the shoot's 8 days, it goes like that, and it's a time that you can't get back. It's always going to be there. Another great question, I think, because, and for anyone that watches this interview later on or that's joined us, I mean, Elizabeth has started films, finished films, and we've counted, I counted 6 in my research, but all in the last 12 to 18 months, during COVID as well. What's your best advice for filmmakers who suddenly hit a wall during filming, or hit a wall in that process of getting the film made? Because you've obviously finished all yours.
Yeah, and it does happen. I think it has to be to understand before you start why you want to make it. You know, if you want to make it because it's a passion project, or you want to make it because you're earning money, I always say to people, what's the first reason? Or maybe people have got something that's their baby and they really need 5 million to make it. You know, I say, well, maybe you should start on something else. So even before you start the process, work out what it's for and why. And then when you get to that next stage and you work out the practical things that you can do to enable this to be good, just go over it in pre-production. Pre-production is so important that in COVID as well, the only thing you want to do when you're on set is say action and cut. No decisions should be made there, because there's no time for decisions to alter things. Everybody knows their wardrobe, their makeup, their lines, where we're shooting, how we're shooting, my shot list. That pre-production is crucial. So if you get to a wall in pre-production, you've got to work around it. You've got to find that way. And if you can't get what you need, then you rewrite it. Then you redo it. Then you do all of that planning. So in production, you shouldn't hit a wall. It's going to be tiring, but there shouldn't be an issue. If it's financial, you should have planned that in pre-production. So pre-production would be my key.
That is great advice. That's great advice. And I want to ask you one more. I said 2 more questions. There's one more question. This is a great one. So for the indie filmmakers out there that have a project, they make the project, and then they're looking for distribution, what is your advice in getting distribution on an indie film?
So again, thinking about what you want to do it and why. I think film festivals are great. I personally don't take my films to festivals anymore because I've been able to get distribution, but they're a great platform to get that and to get yourself seen and known. But I think you have to decide what you want from your film. I also release a couple of films myself, like Unseen, and even though it's on Amazon and other places, I made it, I funded it, so it didn't matter where it went. I wanted people to see it. So distribution is about connections. Everything is about connections in this industry. So it's about finding somebody that will support you and say, okay, I think that, people can look it up on my IMDb, see who has distributed. One of my favorite ones is Leo Mark Studios. Learmark Studios support me all the time, take films, put them up, put them in the right places, Voodoo, Amazon. There are so many places now. Obviously, if you're going for a Netflix or a Hulu, that's a different ballgame, a totally different market, which means, again, you have to look at what am I shooting, how am I shooting it, and are they even interested in this in the first place? Look at your budgets. When do you need your money return? You know, what is that all about? There are so many elements. So, I mean, James, I love this stuff and I love supporting people. So if there are any filmmakers that want to know more, they can contact me. They can send me messages. My information is available all on the internet because I want to be helpful because it is hard.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And I agree with everything you're saying. I think that pre-production point when you decide what sort of film you're making and where its home's going to be, you know, is it a festival? Is it an award-winning film, or is it going to commercially viable for a streamer? That just saves you the disappointment at the end as well when you're kind of like getting rejection and you're thinking, well, I've poured my heart and soul, but it's not working.
Because there are, you know, Just Swipe I made to be a commercial film. I'm selling it to be commercial. The one I'm shooting at the moment, Caroleek, that's for the film festivals. That's what the independent producer wanted it for. So you do things in a very different way. It's not just one way.
That's fantastic. Well, what can we see you in next? And the crowd's suddenly gone very quiet at the very end, but yeah, what can we see you in next?
I think it's about Googling and following me on all social media. So I'm at Elizabeth_B_T or Mother and Daughter Ent. And I always put things up there. Please listen to my podcast. I've got my third one coming out. So I've done Filmmaking Without Fear, Storytelling Without Fear, and Living Without Fear will be coming out soon. They can find me on Vimeo. My teasers and trailers are everywhere. And I'm just waiting for Just Swipe to get the best platform it can. But I hope everybody loves that. It's really funny, so I hope
they will like it. Yeah, I can assure you they'll find that funny. I'm excited for that one, but the other projects you've got coming out as well, because I know you've got a huge slate.
Yeah.
So everyone look out for that. We have to get you back, Elizabeth. This is your ambition and your success is infectious. It's fantastic. So
thank you.
I hope we can get you back in.
I can't wait, James. Thank you everyone for listening and just, you know, anything I can do to help. And I'm going to be pitching 2 or 3 of my films to Mogul. I'm going to have got a horror, an inspirational true story, and a rom-com. So let's decentralize film funding.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, it's been a real pleasure. I'll get you back again and have a great afternoon.
Take care.
Bye, guys. See you again soon on Mogul Live.